and welcome to Join the Fair. Your host, the Queen, will be here for you on IntellectualRadio.com, Spreaker, YouTube, iHeart, and of course, our Facebook Live. I want to thank you guys for joining in today for Chewing the Fat, and we are going to pick up where we left off last week. Then we're going to fall over into healing from these, how to do this and how to do it successfully. Don't continue to rip the Band-Aid off or pluck the scab off at will. So we want to talk about that today. But on today, on February 13th, I want to wish my oldest next 62, 72 years of being your mom. So that means you and I both have to hang around here, right? Snow day for me after the show. So I wanted to get that in. I also want to ask you guys on the show, she has that for you also. So make sure you stop by at Miss B's Kitchen. She's one of my favorite supporters, and I want to support her, and you guys do the same. This is a small business, Black owned, and guess what? She's an empowered female. Yes, friends, any loved ones. And if something happens within that relationship, we want to take it and put a period or an exclamation point at the end and be done with it. We just kind of, so when you respect each other boundaries and also be able to degrading or humiliating a person for their shortcomings or their relationships, but we are there to be supportive, shoulder that they can come to when in need. If they need to find a way of escape, you're not going to be able to the bad that's in that toxicity. You don't see it. And so when you don't see it, sometimes the other person, me, you, cousin, or someone telling me, friend, whomever, where we are, where the error of our ways are, or how we're too vulnerable for a situation. Sometimes we need that clear. Ms. B's Catering on Cermak and Keeler. Okay, I said Cermak catered a business meeting for me on Monday. And everyone chowed down, but it leaves scars that make it make our future relationships unsuccessful. Very unsuccessful because we're being the bag man and lady and carrying to come in. Not all people are the way that toxic relationship was. Not all men are this way. Not all women are this way. So it's like if we did that, there would be no relationships and no social relationships ever, ever. Because we have to learn how to move ahead and know when to release. Sometimes we have to let some of those things go because it is ruining our emotional and mental health and state of mind. So what do we do in these situations when we choose to cling to the person that is clearly not there trying to help pull in relationship and step outside the one that is telling you it's toxic and step back and do a real evaluation of that relationship, a real evaluation. And then I want you to list things that you think or have heard the other parties say that they've perceived or observed within this toxification. Because of X has placed this expectation or unrealistic expectation upon me. Sometimes it's just not going to happen. No matter how the other party wants it, no matter how you want it, it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Sometimes, no, most of the years of late nights being awake, anxiety, medical and health issues. We will save ourselves so much trouble by just simply stepping outside of self and reevaluating. And positive, and I know it's harder to do and it's easy to say, but we have to be able to step away from this relationship. We have to. Everyone is not meaning you harm that's telling you this. Everyone is not jealous of your relationship. Everyone is not wishing that they had this particular relationship that you have. Some people are fine not being in a relationship. Troubles of this world would not have been if I had an example or if someone had told me. Because I don't have to run into a brick wall if you're telling me there's a brick wall right there, make a left. I'm going to make that right run into a barrier. When someone is trying to assist you, it's one that you can get up and walk away from. It may be devastating. It may take you time to heal. But guess what, sweetheart? You can walk away from a toxified relationship. You just have to trust your instincts and trust yourself. Kitchen located, she is located. It's a red and white awning on the front, and the food is exquisite, and the catering is even better and so professional. Setup is wonderful, and on some of the traditional items that we receive. So, in the process of all the toxic, that's a question that we should ask ourselves. What do we consider toxic? Do we consider cheating toxic? Abuse, physical, mental, or emotional, being toxic? Someone not being able to show a great example, a helpmeet in the home? What do you consider toxic? Someone who don't spend time with children? Or is it child rearing practices are way more severe than you could ever imagine? Does that make a toxic relationship? All of the above does. All of the above will make a relationship toxic. If you don't go in knowing what to expect and what to give within that relationship, you can immediately turn a great relationship toxic. Communication, dominance, all of those different things that I'm shooting out here. There are working or where you can work. Some would tell you how much you can make and you can't make more than them. Some would tell you the friends that they approve of any. Some can be just a serial cheater. And your heart is not set up to accept that. You have a definition of what makes a relationship toxic when it comes to isolation, when it comes to striking your self-esteem. So when others are asking you or instructing you to find a different relationship or different plan for your relationship, we are to weigh the relationship heavier than what we have in our personal and familial, and see the intent from which have they? Are your values respected? Your morals, your child rearing practices? Are you being respected as a? Where are you? Then they smell good. Oh, I just smell your food. No, 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 no. We have to get beyond there. That's so important when it comes to growing over your lifespan. How you can have your self-efficacy over your lifespan. What makes you content, pleased, happy of being who you are. It's real easy to lose yourself in a relationship because we already know it's always important. Now, there have been siblings and cousins and aunts and uncles, and what is being placed upon you to make this relationship toxic. So it's never about the personal that someone carries when it comes to telling you this relationship is toxic, because trust me, I do not have to like your mate for you to love them. But what I will do is respect them. And in the process of me respecting your mate, I won't look for things to say that they are not good for you at. Because if you're happy, a true family member or friend would definitely be happy for you. If you're not in a relationship for 20 years and God is preparing that significant other for you, He's either sending them our way, women, because I always say we don't choose our husbands. We don't choose our husbands. We shouldn't. The husband should choose us, but we should be able to say if we'll accept. And not because it's this bias rule. I am biblically I am being biblically led on what I'm saying. But when it comes to just having a relationship or dating, hey, I see nothing wrong with that. With a woman, that man inside of our lives. So be careful. Be careful on what we're looking at. Are we looking for qualities? Are we looking for things that we can cross off our expectations? In my mind, always growing up, I was going to be with the tall dog. I wasn't tall at all. But the other attributes came with it: hardworking, loving me no matter what, unconditionally, being there for me, supporting me. All the other attributes were there. But that physical thing fades away. My senior pastor always said, you won't always keep that Coca-Cola bottle shape. And you have a few older women that still did have that Coca-Cola bottle. Physical appearance may fade, but who you are and what you bring to the table should always remain the same, or that my toilet is overflowing, that a cleanup is needed, that there's a stench that I don't need in my life or around me. And because that stench is present, I need to do something about it. So that's the same when it comes to a toxic relationship. If there's a sign says, do not enter high voltage electric wall, are you electric wall and enter it? I hope not, because you're going to get the shock of your life. And sometimes that's what we do when we enter these high voltage relationships, thinking that we can change it and change them. You're going to have an electrical fire or a sizzle, or you'll be burned. So it's your call. It's your call. But you have to have some discernment that everyone is not against you. You have to have that. And then we need to be a little bit more forgiving towards the people in our lives. We place this, but if the intent is meant for your good and they're seeing you going or spiraling out of control, allow them to reach for you and pull you out. Don't continue to bite the hand that feeds you. Don't chop off the person's hand at the wrist when all they're doing is extending it to you for help. So we have to think about it. We have to think about it. The word for to do that, the number again, it's always for Intellectual Radio. Call-in number is 708-223-8953. It is also in the top of my description on the Facebook Live. So again, the number is 708-223-8953. You can call your comments in on the topic at hand. So moving over to our next segment, and I thought that these two should have coupled together, because after we have toxic relationships, we definitely carry restrictions and prohibit some things to happen to us, but some can be to our default and some can be to our advantage. I found that in relationships, I want to say hurt placed in that relationship, because no relationship is perfect. So somebody's going to do or say something, grounds for arguments, all of these different things. These are grounds that we won't be able to either come back from, or it's going to take a journey to get back from. When trust is broken, that's one of the heaviest scars that can be placed on you. Number one is because once we as if it's a breakable package, because guess what it is? It's a breakable package, and I am giving you me, and all hopes that you protect me, you love me, you respect me, you communicate with me, you honor me, all of these different things. I expect that, and when one of those things, as such as loyalty and trust, is being broken, that's one of the foundations of staying in. Good, we got insurance. If you didn't have insurance, you still just worried about if they're okay, and you're still going to carry on with that relationship. But when you're absolutely in a relationship, accidents of that magnitude is not that easy to come back from. It's not that easy. When the trust is broken, when you're telling me you're at work and then you have an accident another side of town at a different hour with another person, that trust is broken, right? The trust is broken. How do we get from that? How do we trust again? What do we do? The first thing I say we have to do is forgive. Without forgiveness, we can't move ahead. The scar won't heal because we're constantly snatching the scab off. When they say something, if they do something that resembles what they've done in the past, if you're presented in a new relationship, you base it on all men when it's not, all women, the sore open. So first you have to forgive them. And forgiving them is not about you being a fool for them, you're being an idiot for them, any of those things. It's all about you saying, I'm letting control the very existence of me finding a functional, loving, nurturing relationship. Because a lot of us have missed our opportunities of true and real love because we've held on to what somebody has done to us 2 years ago, 5 and 10 years ago, 5 and 10 years ago, when we should have taken time to grieve whatever, because grieve a relationship when you leave it. Just as you grieve someone that's died, that relationship died. So you have to grieve that relationship and then forgive that relationship for whatever it has brought into your life, whatever disruption it has caused you to have, whether it's professional, personal, or just spiritual. Forgive. The second thing is we cannot base our present or future relationship off of our past. Total different relationships, total different people, and you will probably be a total different person entering that relationship because of your past experiences, because of what you endured and what you've learned from that. Learning from that relationship will give you the biggest telescope in your love life. You will be able to see the distance on how you can sprint or how you should pace yourself. Everything is not a sprint. Some things are about pacing and timing. Don't drop the heavy ball of your old relationship onto a new one. Remember, I'm not her and you're not him. You're not him and you're not her from the past relationship. We should have grown and learned. And in that process, it should open us up to loving, but knowing what to look for in the love that we expect. Knowing how to see the signs when things are being taken off course. We'll be a little bit more vigilant on how we care in our relationship because, you know, we don't want to admit that sometimes during the process of our healing, we are the biggest hinderers. We are the biggest assailants when it comes to our healing. And some of the reasons why is because we just don't want to be, one of the biggest reasons, we just don't want to be hurt again. It rocked our world. And you have that right to say what you will and will not allow in your life. You have that. But don't place false expectations on what a relationship entails, because it will have ups and it will have downs and it will have some things in there that you won't approve of. But that's about learning one another. That's about learning one another. Another way to heal is take time to learn yourself. Take time to know who you are and what you expect. Everything is not going to be straight out of Cosmo magazine with the books of love. It's not. It's not going to be a bestseller on how to love your mate, but it's going to be trial and error. And that's vice versa. Vice versa. That's what it is. It's going to go in both directions. Some relationships were just for that time. Some things were just from that time. The emotional pain that we endure from that relationship was our lesson for that season. And we learned it, or we should have learned it. And if we learned it because it was taught well, then we'll know what to look for, what to see, how to distinguish between the person that's coming from me again, because you should be able to see that same person approaching you again and know when to run, 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 Forrest, run, run like the wind away from it so that you won't endure another scar. Now, because you have a scar does not mean that you have to always be reminded that it's there. You don't always have to be reminded that this scar is there. You know very well what happened to you, and you don't have to continuously bring it up in the new relationship. Sometimes we have to learn to live and let go. Really, we do. We really need to know how to live and let go and stop digging and dredging up things that it's going to stunt us in our lives. When you're in love, it's one of the most beautiful feelings that you can ever have, right? I mean, with Valentine's Day, some people celebrate Valentine's Day. And happy Valentine's Day to you. And some people are staying away from it because they're saying they love themselves and that's all that's needed. Well, that can be true. But it's going to be a really lonely road just loving you. We can't get along without one another. But what we can do is learn how to deal and respect and value one another. And those are the things that you have to take with you when it comes to healing. What do I expect out of this relationship? How do I want them to value me? I would not bring all of the negative things that I have after I was hurt. See, we pick up things after we've been hurt. We may pick up the same cheating habits. We may say, I'm gonna date just more than this person. I'm gonna date a couple so that I won't put all my love and trust into this person and I won't end up hurt. But now you are doing just what you don't want done to you. The multiple misleading relationships. Now, be upfront in the beginning and let someone know, oh no, I'm just dating. Or I'm just in this relationship right now. I don't want anything serious to come about it right now, but I'm going to enjoy this ride. It's okay to do that. It's okay to enjoy the ride. It's all right. But know when to get off the ride. Some roller coasters can be really scary, and some can have you laughing through the entire ride. I'm a roller coaster rider. I enjoy theme parks, amusement parks. I enjoy taking risk. I enjoy bungee jumping. I enjoy parachuting. I enjoy taking risks. I've always lived a little risque, as they say. I've always done that, and I don't know why I wouldn't be able to do the same thing within my relationship. If I was hurt once, doesn't mean that I won't jump back on the bike again and ride. Because that roller coaster ride scared me, as it went up and it climbed up, does not mean that I won't enjoy another ride that goes up. I just need to know how to hold on and secure myself for the ride, right? That's the first thing we do. We lock ourselves in, we buckle up, we make sure everything is working right. We're looking around the cars, we're looking inside the attendant's face, making sure that they know what they're doing, watching how people are entering and exiting the rides. That's the exact way we should enter our relationship. What we want in this ride, who's the attendant that I'm looking at in this ride, myself and the other person, how well this ride can be. Does it have the the not the expectation? Does it have the ability to have an incline, or will it have this big drop at the end that takes the bottom of my stomach out? We want to know these things, right? These are some of the questions or things that we can kind of ask ourselves, in this love roller coaster as we're healing from one relationship to the next. Now, when I speak on healing and from emotional scars, it does not just mean in a relationship, a love relationship. It can also mean with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers. It can mean that, because I had a relationship to dissolve with a girlfriend of mine and a friend of mine that I was friends with for many, many years, like third grade up until our adulthood 4 years ago. And the relationship is dissolved now. But let me tell you, honey, I grieve that relationship as though I was in a relationship with my husband. I grieved that relationship because it was one that I had, number one, for years. I was comfortable with. She knew me, I knew her. You know, we grew together. We watched our children together. So we had memories. We had things that we had that relationships consist of: the trust, the loyalty, the love, the this, the that, all of those things. But somewhere along the line, that relationship was broken. Now, can it be fixed later? Possibly. Have I forgave? Absolutely. There's nowhere in the world that I will harbor anything 4 years, 2 years, unless someone killed, someone, my children or mom or whatever, someone that's close to me. Those type of feelings are a little more difficult to deal with when it comes to the road of forgiving. But when it comes to a relationship, I refuse to hold on to grudges and to past hurt because of it. I needed to move and I needed to heal from it. I needed not to be upset anytime I heard the name, anytime I saw the face, anytime we were in a public setting together or whatever. Because there were going to be times that we done that because of the years that we were together. Just like when you're in a relationship, years, time, value, respect, communication, nurturing, all of those different things that come within a relationship. You hear from those things by first forgiving. Again, you have to forgive. Then you have to analyze on what went wrong, how you could have better handle it, and how they could have better handled the situation. What would you do? You forecast. What would you do if this happens again? How will you counteract this in the next relationship? So we have all of these different things that we have to sit back and place out in our expectation world, in my world, what I won't allow and what I will allow, how I heal and move forward from it. That is one of the lessons to learn in this. That is. So never let anybody, like the old folks used to say, don't let nobody send you to hell for not forgiving, okay? It's time to learn to let go and forgive. Don't go into this new year and the new decade with unforgiveness. Learn to forgive. I hope you guys picked something up on these two segments of learning how to forgive and getting over the dysfunctional relationships. We can talk about it later on. We can revisit it down the road. But the first thing I need you guys to do to have a purposeful filled life is to forgive. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Forgive them and forgive yourself. I am so glad that you guys joined me today on Chewing the Fat, where we are feeding our brain on intellectual radio. You can catch me every Thursday at 3 p.m. The Queen will be back to you next week, God willing. I love you guys. Live life on purpose. Live life with purpose. For without it, what is the intent? Mwah! Have a great one. See you soon.